Afternoon, everybody. How are we all doing? Welcome back. So, I just realised this morning's stream. I just quickly watched back a bit of this morning's stream just to check audio and stuff. I only realised I'm in civilian gear. I'm not wearing my uniform. I just got dressed this morning and just thought, I'll chuck a t-shirt on. So, sorry for the tardy Friday. Morning, Christian, Danny, Crom, JC, Fletch, Jerry, Emac, Brian, Virginia. How are we doing? All good. US dollar's being a pain in the arse. Why can't you get any negative news? Why is everything about the US dollar positive at the moment? Look, all week, literally all week, we've not had one red news event for the US dollar. The only news event we've had is for me, for the pound, negative. Everything else, green. So hopefully University of Michigan, those 500 people they survey, which they seem to pay an awful lot of attention to, hopefully they'll all turn around and go, nah, we don't like anything, and the US dollar will collapse. Weird one, University of Michigan. It can go either way very, very, very quickly. Afternoon, Peter, Evans, Dr. DT, back from summer. Back from the summer. Where have you been for the summer? Wish I could go away for the summer. Afternoon, Paolo. So I've finished all the back testing on the new hedging EA. All looking pretty good. So this is kind of the set file that I'm running at the moment. And funnily enough, the set file that I'm running at the moment is the one that's the top result, which is weird. This is a coincidence, totally coincidental, but I've been running a 2050 target, a 2-hour and a 5-hour target, I've only been looking to get a third of my loss recovery done, where instead of a 50. So I've actually been running that one, I guess. Which also happens to be very, very high up on this list as a bit of an outlier, but it's still working. So interesting results. It's actually the main thing I've got from these results is when you're hedged, it is much more beneficial from a return on drawdown perspective to close your trades at the end of the session than at the end of the day on the DAX. Yeah. So this test here is end of session. You can see the return on drawdown tops out at 3.11. This is exactly the same system parameter permutation test, 1200 tests, run with closing at end of day, end of New York session, not end of Frankfurt session, or just before the New York opens. Return on drawdown tops out at 1.4. So my theorem on this is when you enter into a trade on the DAX, for example, and it hedges you and it goes all the way down and you exit your hedge, that movement more often than not seems to continue in New York. So if you get out of your hedges down here, it continues against you and you take more drawdown. If you close it out there, you just take whatever loss you've got and move on to the next session rather than taking additional up to 100% more drawdown, which is really interesting fact. So if you trade the DAX, do not hold through New York. So drawdown here, for example, 62 grand of drawdown to produce a 90 grand profit. Same for strategy, 39 grand drawdown to produce 124 grand profit. That's a massive difference between closing at 225 and closing at end of day, 9:30. So that's the main God, Windows, stop trying to organize my life. I know where I want to put it. Stop telling me where to put it. So yeah, there you go. I've got loads and loads and loads and loads of data to trawl through now. Thousands of lines of data to be exact. So I will be on that. Fun weekend ahead. Afternoon, Segar, Hamza. 3 months renovating a house to flip. Good man. I'd love to have done that. It's one of the things on my list of things to do that I'd never got around to, flipping a house. I've obviously moved multiple times and done houses up, but I've never bought one to flip just to make profit. Afternoon, AZ. Right. So the DAX this morning, really crap, the DAX this morning. So I made $1,300 this morning, I think. $1,600 this morning. Basically on the ORB, took the pre-market break. It just didn't go anywhere. We went through it in detail this morning, so go and watch this morning's live stream if you want to know why I got out. But I closed out here because we just couldn't get anywhere. The whole session went that way, and we're just putting back for the New York Open to where we started. So really good decision made this morning. EA, however, running on my other account, got me out here at 2R. So I actually made more money over there than I did here. Them's the breaks. So we've had quite a big move on the New York indices off of this pre-market move today. So this could be a tricky one. We've got University of Michigan at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So I'm certainly not trading the Dow or the S&P pre-market ranges, and I doubt I'll trade the NASDAQ either. I think that's going to be too big. So going to wait for the 5-minute openings to see what they do. But we could well hang around until 3 o'clock this afternoon, or 10 o'clock if you're in US. Because we're not, or it depends where you are in the world, because obviously everybody's got a different time. But the next half an hour, first half an hour of the open might be a bit flippy, a bit whippy rather. So I've got flipping on my brain now. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But we've had quite a big pre-market move, John, just gone in, and we've been dropping very hard on the approach to the open. So if this drop is part of a move that is actually starting in the markets, we may well just get that fly out the bottom and get a continuation down straight away at the open. So pre-markets could actually be very profitable, but that's a big range. So not something really I want to particularly get involved in, I don't think. But we'll see. Well, the EA, this version of the EA is going to measure all the ranges for me and do everything. So I don't have to worry about it. 20 seconds to go. We've had a lot of news this morning. It's all been positive US. There's been nothing else this morning apart from the ECB. They are really trying to hike up the euro. The euro collapsed yesterday off the back of the interest rate increase. All day, the ECB have been coming out going, we might put rates up. We might put rates up. It's not the end of rate hikes. We're going to do it. Look, ECB. We have not discussed rate cuts. We're definitely not cutting it. We might still put it up. So they're really, really trying to rally because they've tanked unnecessarily. So, okay, pre-markets. NASDAQ is within parameters. So trading the 5-minute stroke 15-minute pre-market range on the NAS. That's too big. That's too big. So we'll see where we go with the NASDAQ. Making sure the same trades are being taken over here. They are. That's good. I'm running 2 different account types to test execution and slippage across different account types, basically. So I'm just seeing how they both compare. Peter, EA's back in green today. Glad I went for a walk yesterday and haven't touched or done anything stupid. Good man. Brian, been flipping for 20 years, sold 5 rental properties and have 1 left and I'm out. Good man. Yeah. I got a friend who I used to work with. I used to work for the Yellow Pages in the UK many decades ago. I got a friend from back then. And that's basically what he left work to do, is go and flip houses. And he now owns a portfolio of 15 rental properties. He's loaded. So yeah. Long on the NASDAQ. Yeah. Good thing to do. And then obviously, basically, he's got on his 15 odd property. I don't know how many exactly he's got. Last time I heard, it was around about 15, something like that, 12, 15. But he's mortgage free on more than half the properties as well. So what he's done is he's built his portfolio up over the years so that he's been able to pay off some of the mortgages with the income from the entire portfolio. So he's now sitting on like millions of pounds worth of property that he can just go get rid of it. Obviously pay capital gains tax on, so the taxman can have half. Sorry if there's any taxmen in here. We love you, really. Not. Yeah, good job. Good job to have. Afternoon, Daniel. Me too, getting out, not having any more tenants. Mr. Burnt too many times. Yeah, I know, that is one of the problems. Renting properties. Going to get hedged on the NASDAQ by the looks of things. Looks like it wants to go short. It doesn't look like it wants to go anywhere, to be honest, but 15 properties at a grant per month on rent in grand. And you don't have to lift a finger to get it. Yeah, you still got mortgages to pay on the properties, though, don't forget. So the actual income is not whatever your income is. Your income is a percentage of that. Done dealing with tenants, yeah. That is the problem with rentals, isn't it? So hedged on the NASDAQ. The size of this opening range candle on the Dow, absolutely tiny. This is day 10, by the way, forward testing this strategy. I haven't had a losing day yet. So far today, because of that hedge, I'm now $1,800 in hole today. So today could be the first losing day in 2 weeks. So let's see if we can get out of this hedge. We'll have a look at the FX markets in a minute because some ADRs and stuff. I just want to see how the open unfolds on this 5-minute ORB. NASDAQ risks today. Downside, obviously, is going to be ADR, which is yesterday's low. So ADR and yesterday's low in the same spot. 2R to the downside. Then we go looking at the previous day's low, which is down there. Upside is obviously yesterday's high. I got a feeling we're going to be sitting around waiting for the UOM this afternoon, 3 o'clock. Really tight range on that Dow, really tight. That's going to be too small to trade. I don't think I'm going to get in the Dow today. S&P 73, that's too small to trade as well. 520, just about got in the Dow. So not trading the S&P. Going to try and take the 5-minute ORB on the Dow, which is now broken long. This could be a double hedge day today. This will be a test. Afternoon outro. Really interested of the recover mode you are working on for your EA. Have you tried any other strategies and or debunked them? So there's three. I went through all this morning, Daniel, in this morning's live room. But there's 3 loss recovery modes on the EA. A conservative, an aggressive, and a very aggressive. So the conservative basically is with the NASDAQ. Yeah. So we wait for the NASDAQ to play out today. It will go to our 5R target up or a 5R target down. We close out those trades if it gets there. And then we wait and see what happens. And then we close out the rest of our positions at the end of the day and we see what happens. Yeah. So if we go up to here, for example, that will be about 8 grand. Thereabouts. 16 grand roughly. Yeah. Up here. So we'll bank 16K. We'll be in approximately 19K of drawdown up here. So the idea is we close it and then we just wait and we hope there's an end of day sell-off. And we just get out at the end of the day in profit. Yeah, that's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is when we close that, we take second entries here using pending orders when the market starts to drop. and we scale in and average into our position to try and escape the position faster, more aggressive. Third is we take additional entries at ADR high, which in this case is going to be below 5R. So when we take that one there, when we close out there and we take a short there, I'm assuming it's going long, obviously, it's the opposite of the short. We take our trade, and as we get down to ADR, we take an additional trade and add to it, which means we get out pretty much in one candle. We need one candle down to exit. And what it does is it will use a loss recovery target. That loss recovery target you set yourself. I've got it set at 20% of the closed position. So in this case, it'd be 16K, which will be $3,200 will be my loss recovery target. So the EA will auto close when we get to the difference between the drawdown and the profit gained. When that is 3,200, it will auto close the positions and say, thank you very much, we're off. And that can be adjusted to whatever you want. The back testing that I've just completed shows me that actually 50% loss recovery target is more profitable. Anything above actually what I'm saying, which is 20. But mine's still profitable, but it's just, I've got to do more research into it basically. But those are the loss recovery strategies. The Dow break is still long. NASDAQ's going short. So we'll see where these go this morning. Oh, I've just explained it to you again, Daniel, and you said you heard them. Okay, there you go. For those that weren't in the live room this morning, those are the loss recovery strategies that I'm using, developing, testing, analyzing, all that stuff. Afternoon, Neo. Peter, sorry, missed it. Dow was taken by ORB. Yeah. So the Dow is the 5-minute ORB. So that is there. Those pink lines, that is your 5-minute initial cash balance. So that's broken along on the 5-minute opening range break. How do you calculate the clearance downwards from the close position till your pending sell stop? Candle lows. So take this as an example, yeah? So let's say, ignore all that there. Yeah. So let's say this was our TP, this black line. We've hit it. Now we're looking to go long to get out of a hedge long we've got up here. So we've got a long position up here. We've got a short position here. This is our TP. We've hit it. We've just closed out our position. Now we've got to deal with our long. So what we would do is we place a pending order above the high of the previous candle. And if price continues to push down, we just delete that pending and we keep pending trailing until we find some buyers. Yeah, when we find a buyer, i.e. we put in a higher high, we enter. So we only enter the market when the buyers enter the market. If this continues to drop, we go with it. We wait, and then we break and scale in when the market decides it's had enough of going short. So we hope that that pullback is enough to get us out of the long hedge. For example, that would have been an entry. So if we were trailing our pendings, if we were trailing our pendings, we would trail there, 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 we will trail there, we will trigger along there. Well, actually, there's an offset, so it might not have triggered along there. It probably would have trailed. That would have been a definite entry long. So I'm using a pending offset above the high of the previous candle, basically, because I don't want to, if it's going to come up and double top, yeah, this exact scenario here, right? We put up a high, we close low. We test it again, we close low. We test it again, we close low, and we continue. Basically, the sellers are holding that line. They're not letting price through. So our pending order is an offset, exactly the same with the opening range breakout. We don't put it on the top of the candle, we offset it because we know that price double tops levels. So the pending orders work in the same way. Whatever offset you use in the opening range, that offset is what is going to be used in the trailer as well. So there you go. So that is the candle. You can see that is my orders there. So that's the offset. So if we were trailing now on that candle, the actual entry would be somewhere about there. That would be the way the pending order sits. Because if it pushes up into that area and out again, i.e. the sellers that caused this move down add and continue down, we do not want to get triggered if they're going to double top it. Because don't forget, we got spread as well. Okay, lovely break short on the NASDAQ. Look at that. Look at that entry. That is the difference between a win and a loss. Look at it. That's my order. That is the high of the candle. That is me getting entered in on spread unnecessarily. On our way to 2R, I'm unfortunately hedged because of that much. What can you do? Right, so this is ADR low as well on the NASDAQ. So we're just approaching ADR lows here, double bottom on yesterday's low. So we might find limit orders triggering down here. The Dow isn't going anywhere at the moment. Right, so this is yesterday's low now being tested on the NASDAQ. S&P has broken to the downside. So if you've taken the 5-minute opening range on the S&P, you are short. Afternoon, Keith. Okay, so we've got some orders triggering here. This is ADR and yesterday's low. This is a really tricky session today because we've got the news in 15 minutes as well. So this could be the perfect spot to exit shorts and get back into longs again to try and push back up into this area ahead of the news. We could put in a move like that ready for the news this afternoon. But this market feels very heavy at the moment, so I'm just going to give it the benefit of the doubt. The S&P is still dropping, so I'm just watching the S&P to see any signs of bullishness, because if we get a nice big bull move on that and this hasn't moved yet, the likelihood is the NASDAQ will get dragged with it. The Dow's not going anywhere. Let's have a quick look at FX while we're waiting for this to figure out what the hell it's up to. So US markets, the US dollar has had a bit of a rally today off of the back of the news. So we've had all this news released. It's just green, 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 green as far as the eye can see on the US dollar. So we've had a little bit of a bull move again on the US dollar today. ADRs though, we had Aussie Swiss, Aussie yen and New Zealand dollar yen. These ADRs were hit this morning. So Aussie dollar yen, the ADR reversal was here. So that one, you are in profit on it, hasn't really gone anywhere. New Zealand dollar yen, same thing. There was your reversal alert. So that was ADR. What the hell? My pen. That was ADR. That was your reversal alert. Yeah, nice profit. Target on this one was 27 pips. Done 28. So target hit half an ADR. And the Aussie dollar Swiss was the other ADR this morning. So that one hit ADR. Your reversal alert was there, that candle. So you've had that much movement out of the ADR reversal this morning, which is roughly 14. Half an ADR is 21. So about 2/3 of target, but you're still in it short. Oil has also hit ADR today. Straight off, look. Boing. Straight off ADR. Lot of movement coming off the back of that news. What time does that move? 2 o'clock. that was in between Empire State Manufacturing and Industrial Production. So we've just had some general movements starting in between those two news events. Really weird price action around that news, but it does seem to be recovering on it now. So there's no other ADRs. So the US dollar, although we've had this move today, there's no ADRs. So it's a push up, yes, but it's not strong. You can see US dollar Swiss, we've tapped straight into yesterday's high. Sellers a step straight in at yesterday's high. US dollar yen going absolutely nowhere. Still can't get out of this high. Look, hit a brick wall. We pushed up into it. Market's scared to go through this level because it knows as soon as it does, the Japanese are going to be on their case on Monday morning. So market's a bit, I wouldn't be surprised to see this come down today. We get negative Michigan figures today. I think we're going to see a decent ADR on this, but pound US dollar pulled down. We've just come back off of this previous low down here, and euro US dollar, yeah, we've not really gone anywhere. Euro's pushed up a little bit against the US, pulled back, pushed up. Yeah, they've been rallying the euro today, the ECB. So we've got a breakout which is retested and is looking like it's holding at the moment. If we can get that high broken, we're off today. So again, all about the newsing at 3 o'clock in 10 minutes. We will get some decent movements off of this US dollar, hopefully. RSIs, we looked at the RSIs this morning. There was a few hourlies. The hourlies haven't really got extended. They got extended yesterday afternoon, but there's nothing extended much this morning. Aussie New Zealand was extended off of the ADR hit. That wasn't an ADR hit. Sorry, that was a 4-hour RSI hit we were looking at, wasn't it? And that's extended on the hourly as well, just about. Good divergence. Yeah, so we got totally flat RSI. It's hit, hit, hit. Price is moving up, so that's bearish divergence. So this is looking like it's probably going to start a pullback soon. That's the only hourly. All the rest of these are 4 hours. So Aussie dollar yen, that's come off the 4-hour RSI extension already. That move's just started. So there's your 4-hour RSI extension above the 80 at ADR, rejecting. Euro New Zealand just hit ADR. Upside. There goes. Euro's on the march. This must be New Zealand dollar weakness. Yeah, this is New Zealand dollar weakness. The Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar pairs are selling off. All of them. Apart from Aussie New Zealand. So this chart tells us that the Aussie is stronger than the New Zealand dollar. So both pairs are selling off, but the New Zealand dollar is selling off more than the Aussie, basically. So good moves down on all of these. So yeah, so you can see the RSIs there. I won't go through them all, but they're all 4-hour RSIs. Aussie dollar Swiss extended to the upside, already started. So you've had your reversal alerts on these today already. You've had your signals to get in. There was a signal obviously up there on this one because we've gone sideways for a long time this morning. We've got a second signal short. So that's a nice short. Aussie Swiss, Aussie yen, Aussie New Zealand. These have all had decent multi-day pushes. CAD Swiss is also extended on the 4-hour. I've got a sell on this one, looking for a pushback down into propulsion, down into here. So that is a 4-hour RSI extension above the 80. Your 15-minute reversal alert was yesterday. The 5-minute reversal alert as well. We had one of those this morning. So not really gone anywhere, CAD Swiss. It's holding up at the moment because the Canadian dollar is strong off the back of oil and the euro is weak, but it's starting to strengthen up. So this is kind of going sideways at the moment because euro is strengthening, Swiss is strengthening, Canadian dollar is also strong. So a strong against a strong gives you a sideways move range. CAD yen extended on the 4-hour. You just had the reversal alert kicked in on that one. It's pushing down. Really need to see what happens with this US move. Hedged on the Dow as well. Oh, it's going to be a tricky one today. Got to get out of these. So CAD yen, euro odd and euro CAD. So euro odd's moving nicely. That's in profit now. Looking for a push up into propulsion. I'm going to leave that one running. And euro CAD. So that was a 4-hour RSI extension. Euro CAD also 4-hour RSI extension pushing up nicely. looking for that to come into that low somewhere in the middle of that propulsion gap. And the pound odd, which pound odd, euro odd, pound New Zealand, euro CAD, pound CAD, pretty much the same pairs. So euro CAD obviously pushing up. If you look at the pound CAD, you're getting a similar-ish movement on that one. The pound's a little weaker though. So pound CAD extended on the 4 hour. So there's a good looking entry to push back up into that area there. Possibly obviously a lot further, depending on what happens with the Canadian dollar. And the pound odd extended, looking for that one to rally as well, back up into propulsion. So I'm not getting greedy with any of these at the moment, but this oil move that we've got to the downside obviously is going to weaken the Canadian dollar a little bit. So if the pound is going to take advantage, or the euro is going to take advantage of that Canadian dollar at the moment, this is the time to do it while oil is weakening. Oil, we're looking for a potential pullback into this area here, which will be basically a 50% retracement. Next leg up, 24.72 bounce to continue this trend up to $95 a barrel. So this could be the start of a multi-day, i.e. into middle end of next week, pullback on oil down into these levels. $83 a barrel. That's 300 ADR to the downside. So there's a long way to go. But it could obviously also do exactly what it did last week and just sit around and hover and then pop off the next leg up. Yeah. So oil production is still strangulated by the Saudis and the Russians. So supply is constricted. Demand is still there. Therefore, less supply, same demand, higher prices. Should be pushing up, but it will probably need to pull back on its way. We'll see what happens. Right, so the NASDAQ's broken through yesterday's low. We've got this little low here, which is kind of the low of the New York end session on Wednesday, sorry. We are getting some wicks coming in here, though. So we've pushed into the low. Orders have triggered to hold them. They've tried to push through. We've triggered some more orders, held them at that level. They're trying again. If we get another wick here and the sellers basically can't get through, we should start a pullback. If that's the case, this could be the ideal spot to get out today. We will see. But with 6 minutes to go until the news, that is a very, very risky thing to do. If I get out here and that news comes out as positive on the US dollar, as every other piece of news has been, these indices are going to drop. So I'd rather, I think, stay hedged on this for the moment and look for another exit. Afternoon, whoever I haven't said afternoon to, Kendley, Christian, Gold. Afternoon, Amy. Oh, well, I've moved my thing about. There we go. John, I moved you about. Should we have a quick flick before gold? Should we have a quick flick through my John Wick collection? Traded the NAS and lost my Lambo. These are all from Brian, by the way. John says, learn the basics or lose the Lambo. Gold. Magic 8 Ball. Used this quite a lot just before summer started, when basically people were asking which direction stuff was going to go. I don't know. Look at your Magic 8 Ball. It knows as much as I do. Or consult your crystal ball. That's John just having blown his prop account. This is John having just passed his first stage of evaluation before he blew his prop account. And I can't quite remember what this was about. Something to do with shoes. I don't know. Bit mad. Anyway, gold. So we have completely slammed through that level. Okay, so we popped. So we're on our way down to 5R. Fast. Right, next stop. We've gone through it. So that was your next potential support. Yeah. So this zone here is previous level of support and accumulation. Right where we are now. So this could be an area we pop off from. If we break this, there's nothing to stop us until we get down to here. So we'll be looking for that 5R target. Potentially today is on the cards. But we'll see if they hold at this level. Very, very strong sell-off today. Dow can't get anywhere. Downside on the Dow. Hard today. Somewhere there. It's just levels galore, isn't there? I mean, it's really hard to pick anywhere on the Dow today. We'll see what happens with the news. See where we get to with the news. That will kick us off somewhere. So gold, Euro Swiss, quickly before I look at gold. Euro Swiss, ADR. Big push up on Euro Swiss. Totally range bound, this thing. Totally range bound. Went from big range to little range. We're still in middle of range. So it's an ADR hit to the upside. I probably would wait and take a short up here somewhere rather than trying to take a short from there. But that is an ADR hit. Right, gold, basically, at the minute, this is going to move, obviously, in 2 minutes when the Michigan figures come out. Crocs, that was it, Brian. John Wick wearing Crocs, but for some reason it didn't put Crocs on it, and obviously it put them on his hands. They weren't Crocs either. We got high there. We're at over ADR today, so the market is buying into oil, into gold, selling the US dollar basically. So I don't trade this, so I don't know. It's a US dollar cross like everything else. If the US dollar goes up this afternoon, this is coming down. If the US dollar goes down this afternoon, it's going to go up. If it goes up, I'd be looking for a move up to 150 ADR and short it from there. If it goes down, I'll be looking for a double bottom bounce off of this monthly level. Right now, though, 2 minutes before the news, I wouldn't get involved. Wait. Right, let's just watch and see what happens. So 30 seconds to the news. What a stupid design. You can never get everything out of a can, can you? There's always a little bit you can never get. Who invented the can? Idiot. Sorry, just, bottle, drink it all. Can, never get it. Anyway. We've gone into freeze mode. Okay. Charts froze up then, just as the news came out. Just waiting for the news to come through. 67.7 on a forecast of 69. Negative. It's a negative. We've actually got a negative number on the US dollar. Finally. It's taken all week. We've got a negative number. So, hopefully, here we go. Gold's taking off. Pound US dollar should be starting to move. We should be getting some upside movement on everything against the US dollar. Indices up. So you can see the Dow is starting to rally. Just going to see what happens with these. We don't seem to get much impact at all on the NASDAQ and the S&P. The Dow is having a good run though. So I'm just watching this for an exit on the NASDAQ trades. Doesn't seem to be an awful lot at the minute. The first negative news we've had for a week. It's been a long time coming. I'm expecting a big downside move off of that US dollar. NASDAQ is still holding. So we are, S&P's rejected these highs. NASDAQ, we are currently sitting inside bar. So buyers not taking control. Sellers can't seem to make headway either. So Euro is also rallying off the back of that news. Lovely rally on the Euro starting. We go on the US. So US dollar yen coming down hard. We've got a gap on that as well. So what we need to see this get sustained though. We've seen moves like this and they just basically peter off straight back and nothing happens. So we need to see if we can get some movement. Missed the gold trade. The news had better dump the dollar. The bloody thing keeps rallying. It does. Not anymore. So watch for ADRs on US dollar pairs. I wouldn't take them, but watch for them. Basically, I want to see them light up, which means basically I'm making money. Indices are struggling to make any headway off of this at all. So I would expect the indices to rally off the back of this news because the US dollar's dropping. We seem to be getting a similar effect on the Dow, but not on the NASDAQ or the S&P at the moment. Shows you how heavy this market is today. Can't make any headway, even with negative news on the US, which would tend to rally. So those numbers on the University of Michigan, 67.7. So that's just over a 1% miss. One number miss. It's not a percentage, but it is the first negative we've had. I've never understood why the market pays so much attention to this because it is literally a survey of 500 consumers. Yeah, so they go out and they ask 500 randoms in the University of Michigan, what do you think? And they go, oh, I think this. And they actually pay attention to it. It's on the scorecarding systems. In the banks, there is a UOM meter in the banks. They actually pay attention to this for some reason. How big is the US? How many people live there? They survey 500 people and they pay attention to what those 500 say. What if all of those 500 were from Texas and Trump supporters? Not really giving you a proper kind of cross-reference, is it? A cross-section of the community. I've never understood it, Michigan, but the market likes it. Okay, so NASDAQ, we've painted an inside bar. So I'm looking for an inside bar break long. The S&P, we've put in a higher high, higher low. So we have found more buyers on the S&P. The Dow, still stuck within the inside range, stuck within the opening range on the Dow. We haven't managed to make any progress whatsoever there at all. So I'm considering getting out of the shorts. I want to see a little bit more progress on the NASDAQ, at least a green candle to show me there is actually some buyers on board, because at the moment all I'm seeing is a massive long John Wick, which is not bullish. Euro yen ADR. Euro yen, we did kind of just touch ADR, but we are now extended beyond ADR. This isn't yen. This is this move is not really the yen. It's everything moving apart from the yen. This is euro rallying basically. How was that? I could have sworn I just heard an order get placed. Hearing things. EuroCAD, ADR. Target's up there. 150 ADR. We could easily get a 150 ADR off this. I guess the power of an indicator is more in how many people watch it than its intrinsic influence. I don't know. In things like moving averages, people believe that moving averages work because everybody's watching moving averages. I know for a fact that moving averages are not used in the banking sector, and the banking sector moves the market. So you can tell me as much as you like that when something hits the 200 moving average, it tends to bounce off of it because everybody's watching that level and they see some price action and they buy it. Banks don't look at it. Who moves the market? Banks. Yeah. So I'm not a firm believer in that. Support and resistance, I do believe. Everybody watches big round numbers, including the banks, and everybody in the banking sector watches levels. So in the banks, on commercial desks and market maker desks, for example, they'll say, buy up EuroCAD at 143,750 and take it up to 145. Yeah. So they'll call out 143,750 to 145. Why do you think it bounces at 145? Because you're buying it from 133,750 and you're selling it at 145. It's a big round number. You don't go, okay, so I want you to buy it at 136,422 and I want you to sell it up at 152,970. They don't do that. Yeah, they work from move it from here to there. That's why support and resistance tends to become areas, because the different banks and institutions are watching those areas. That's why we get support resistance bounces. There's also measured movements, which causes support and resistance. So a measured move will be something like an ADR. We know that when we move ADR, it comes off of ADR. Why? Because on average, that's all they ever do. The banks move it on average a distance every day. This is what ADR is. It's measuring the average distance of movement. So if on average it does this every day, doesn't it make sense that when we get to it, it's probably not going to go much further, because on average, that's what it does. It's mathematical certainty because we've seen it happen for the last 10 days. So there's a high probability of it happening again. Again, levels like this are watched by banks. Yeah. But the banks tend to measure it in percentage. So something is dropped by 2.2%. On average, it drops by 2.1% a day. So if we're 2.2% down on the day, we'll look to buy some here. Yeah. This is why the market moves in the way it does. So levels, I understand. Indicators, not as much. The other thing you need to understand about indicators is everybody's indicators will be slightly different based on your broker data from a retail perspective. So I have people emailing me and saying, I've just had the EA take a trade. I haven't seen you take it today because my data is different. My RSI was measured at 24.92. Yours was measured at 25.1 because your broker opens the candle an hour earlier than mine does or an hour later than mine does. Therefore, your moving averages are different readings, your RSIs are different readings, everybody's readings are different. The DAX, if you have pre-market data or not, every single indicator you have will be completely different. So indicators aren't necessarily watched, I don't think. Retail traders, yes. You will find movement at those levels. But I think it's more the banks going, hey, to the 200 moving average, let's make it look like it's bouncing and kill them all. That I could understand. But other than that, I don't think it does much else, to be honest. But there's a lot of conspiracy theories I've heard over the year about trading. People, don't share your strategy with everybody. If a few thousand people are trading the same strategy, the banks will know about it and they'll stop the strategy working. Banks don't even know I exist. You know, I've believed it as well in the past, but you suddenly realize there's like trillions of dollars going through this market to make every one of these ticks happen. No strategy that they're looking at and going, oh, hang on a minute, all the RSI traders will be trying to go long here. Let's push it down a bit more, boys. Not that I know of anyway, but, you know, I might be wrong. So we're sustaining this short move. So looking for some kind of exit down at here somewhere. That's stalling out a little bit on the euro, the US dollar. So stalling a little bit here. Might do a little pullback and rally. Might completely undo this and we'll sit down here. Typical news play. So we'll see what happens. Dr. AJ Palmer, chemotherapy and palliative in charge. Hi. That's got to be the longest YouTube name I've ever seen. Dr. AJ Palmer, chemotherapy and palliative in charge. You could have just called yourself Dr. AJ. Not there's anything wrong with it. Afternoon, Victor. Top for gold now? I don't know. Yeah, if euro US dollar is starting to come down, gold will be doing exactly the same. Cross with the US dollar. It's driven by the US dollar. The US dollar's going up, gold's going down. US dollar's going down, gold's going up. Mumo, my prop broker has a contract size of 10 for indices. Then don't use them. Risking 0.2 results in a win-loss of 2%. This can't be good. Do you mean that the lot size, they force you to use a lot size, which is minimum of 0.1? So you can only do 0.1s, 0.2s, 0.3s, or 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, or 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s? If that's the case, don't use them. If they're forcing you to go in large increments, jump ship, don't use them. But regardless, you can always calculate risk. Still dropping across the board. Yeah, and the banks don't know about your secret rocket and weights. No, Peter, that's correct. They don't. I'm sure it'll get out there. As soon as they do know about my rocket, I reckon they'll start using it. I should patent it, shouldn't I? Okay. So basically, we should get a rally now on everything against the US dollar. DAX just breaking the lows of the day. Oh no, I deleted my rocket. That's close. Dow is retesting the pre-market opening range low. NASDAQ still coming down. S&P is testing yesterday's low. I'm going to have to get rid of my rocket, otherwise I can't look at other charts. S&P just bouncing off yesterday's low, limit orders triggering down here. Very good bounce there. A lot of buyers just entered there. And on the NASDAQ. And that's a propulsion gap fill on the NASDAQ. So this is where this buy move, originated from here. These propulsion gaps. Buyers are stepping back in there at the lows. This could be the bottom. See where this candle goes. We've still got a lower high and a lower low on this candle though. So at the moment the market is still bearish. We break that high, we put in an outside bar. That could be the pause waiting for that rally back up. Then we're going to push back up into propulsion. We'll see if we get any kind of follow through on that. Mumo, i.e. contract size in the specification details is 10. Most other brokers have 1. Then you need to reduce everything by 10 if that's what they're... Basically, anything you do, Mumo, it's very, 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 very easy to figure out what you need to do. Go into the strategy tester, stick the EA in the strategy tester with a fixed lot, percentage risk, whatever it is, run it and see what it does. If it's risking too much or not risking enough, adjust the settings in the EA until it is working. Just test it with the broker. So you just literally put the EA in whatever EA you're using, you put it in the strategy tester and run it because it's running on broker data. It will only allow you to trade the contract sizes the broker allows you to trade. It will risk based on the amount that your account is with that broker or prop firm or whatever it is, and it will replicate the conditions. Always test everything. Never, ever put any EA or strategy on anything unless you've tested it in the strategy tester. You click that button at the wrong lot size and put in 10 times what you want to happen, and it happens to collapse, you will lose everything. Test. Quick tip for new traders, monitor sentiments. Monitor sentiments, some fundamentals, RSI, and last but not least, watch all the market structure traded videos. Good tip, Nazir. And for those that don't know, it's all on the website for free. Position Trading Bootcamp, all my educational stuff. And there's a whole fundamentals section with commitment of traders reports, all the fundamentals, everything you need. Retail sentiment, which is lovely. Go the other way to what everybody else is doing. You can't go far wrong. Our website's having a real slow day today. I don't know why. Okay, NASDAQ's, we've got 30 seconds left. So we are starting to look like we might be finding a low here. One candle does not make the buyers enter, but we're certainly getting a little bit of pushback from propulsion. Very tricky this is today. Very tricky to pick a level. So this low, that low, hit it again, went a little bit further, bounced. Then we had that whipsaw through it, bounced again, bounced a little bit lower. So this zone here, from that low down to that low, is the originating orders for that move. Tapped straight into it. So we're finding buyers at this level. And it's a 3R drop. So it's a decent amount of money to bank. The Dow, however, is still... We've had a nice big wick put in there, look. Nice big hammer. At the pre-market lows. And this is basically where we opened yesterday. You can't quite see, but these lines here, that's where we opened yesterday. I'm going to wait for this candle to close out. Thanks for subscribing, Christine. Welcome aboard. Yeah, I'm getting out the shorts. Okay. Additional longs gone on. Average is there. So we'll see if this is a low. Why does it not remove those stop losses? Why have you not removed those stop losses? Okay, I think I might need to tweak that. So I'm just thinking what I've coded. I can't remember what I've coded. Actually, I want to start Cancer YouTube. So the name. Good man. YouTubing is very difficult. Attracting people, as you can see, I've got 57 people in it at the moment. Attracting people to a live stream is very hard work. In fact, I don't even bother trying. That's why I've only got 57 people. I don't do this because I want millions of people watching. But if you do want millions of people watching, it's a minefield out there. Brian, out the NASDAQ. You only got in short, did you? You lucky. Let's have a quick look at what we're doing at the moment. Still pulling back a little bit on this US dollar. Or rather pushing a little bit. So what we could be seeing here is just a flag formation, which will break short and continue on. So let's see where we go. Looking for a New York reversal. Hopefully. Big down day today. If you look at it on the daily. Ooh, Jesus. The big down day for the NASDAQ at the moment. So you could end up with a strong close candle like that. So you got a tiny little wick, but more than likely, typically we tend to pull back the vast majority of the time from the lows. But as you can see, the NASDAQ can close strong and just hold that level, which we will see. But we're ADR. So beyond ADR now. See where we go. Buried on the 5-minute RSI. Yeah, I haven't got the RSI on here. $7.8. Yeah, this you don't get down here. Yeah, this is a very, very strong move. Very strong move. After a very strong move, tends to come a very swift profit take. So this whole area here, basically, looking for that to become supportive and just give us a little bit of a rally back. US dollars stopped dropping for the moment. Doesn't seem to be that excited about the University of Michigan figures. No more news today. That's it now. Anybody got any other pairs they want to have a look at? Looked at all the ADRs, haven't we? So all RSIs on the hourly now are off. So all those extensions that we did have on the hourly, all starting to play out now. No more 4 hours there, is that we haven't looked at already. All the same stuff. So we're just waiting for this US dollar, really. Do something. Anybody got any pairs I want to look at? Because I haven't really got much else to do today. We're just going to sit and watch this play out on the indices. So, waiting game. I'm just going to quickly run a test on this in visual mode. Bear with me with a sec. Because I just want to gather some data quickly. Afternoon, Rajiv. Pound YD and pound what? GBP YD and GBP JPY, please. What's GBP YD? Don't know what that one is. Let me just run this for a sec. Oh, pound odd. Okay. Oh, I've got all the lines turned off. Idiot. Oh, and I've also got the screenshots and everything turned off. Double idiot. Sorry, I'm just trying to do something, and I've just realized I've got everything that I want to do off. One. Sometimes you start a test, and suddenly during that test, you come back to it a day later, and you're like, why is that not, and you've done one thing wrong in the test, and you've wasted an entire day running something that's never going to actually give you the information you want. Fat fingers, exactly. Okay, so there's all the data I wanted. So basically what this is doing, it's storing data. So it runs a folder, which basically you can see it's being updated. And what this does is it just stores a screenshot of every single day so that you can actually see day by day every single move, where it went to, how it unfolded. So there's a visual reference. So you can see basically what type of days you get. Yeah. And then there's a data file exported, which is massive. And basically what this does is it exports all the information about each day, which is now not going to update because I've opened it, but how many trades were taken, so you can see which days you got hedged, which days you didn't get hedged, how many hedges there were, whether it was an aggressive exit or a normal exit, whether we hit ADR, highs and lows or not, and the total profit on the day. So you can analyze all the days basically and see what happened on each. So I need to get all this data out basically as part of what I'm going to do this weekend and just go through everything. So I just wanted to run this test just to make sure it is working, because I haven't actually tested this in detail yet. There you go. So there's a good example of a nice loss recovery. Look. Hedge. Down to 5R. Exit. Second entry taken. Push back up. Exit entire. $4 profit. We wait all the way until down that 5R to get out. That's good. That's working anyway. That's right. I just wanted to test that while we're sitting here waiting for stuff to actually play out. Right. So pound odd. Pound odd, would it? Yeah. Pound odd. I've got long on at the moment. We're not really going anywhere on this. This pound is really struggling at the minute. We've got the interest rate announcement next week. I'm expecting a 0.25 increase on that pound. So I'm expecting some strength to hopefully come through next week. But as we've just seen with the euro yesterday, they increased their rates and we collapsed. Well, not yesterday. Yesterday? It was yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah. So they increased their rates and the euro collapsed. So where we are at the moment, looking for some Aussie dollar weakness just to push up back into this area on this one. Nice RSI extension on the hourly. So there's your entry. But not holding out masses of hope for the pound or the euro moving forward. They seem to be weakening a lot. So pound yen, however, I would look for shorts on definitely, because I think saying that, now from today, this pound, this US dollar yen is the key. I'm just watching the US indices stalling out. I need to get out of the Dow. We've kind of pulled back from this high again on this. If we do get that weakness starting to come through in the US dollar, we'll be absolutely fine. So the pound yen, there's no real way for this to go. Pretty much where we are at the moment, do what we're doing at the moment, sideways. You can see the pound obviously is having a bit of a push down with the yen at the moment. It's pushing down against everything, I think, by the looks of things. Yeah, it's getting a little bit of a retracement now on the pound. This looks like a bit of yen strength coming through as well. Yeah, a little bit of yen strength coming through as well. So the pound yen, basically, there's no real advantage to getting in at the moment because we're just sitting in the middle of nowhere. It is bearish at the moment. If that US dollar breaks that height and we don't get the weakness in the US dollar, we should be looking for shorts on everything against the yen. If that US dollar comes down today and we do get that move started off of that negative news, and if we get any more negative news next week and we get that move down on the US dollar, there's no reason for the Japanese to power up. So if we're going to see the Japanese yen remain fairly weak, along with the pound being weak, you're just going to get sideways movement. So there's no real reason to get into it. So you could take any extension you get. ADR hits to the downside, RSI hits to the downside or the upside. Just get in on mean reversion and you probably won't be too far wrong. And if it pushes up, just look for support resistance areas to scale into to get out. There's nothing really at the moment on the pound yen. No reason to get into that. There's no real reason to get in. Well, there was a reason to get into the pound odd this morning. We didn't get the reverse alert. Support rectangle held this morning. That's what we're looking for. We didn't get that break. So we might get the break here. Unlikely it's going to do it today. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere now, does it? Indices have totally stalled out. 20 minutes sideways. Dow not making any progress. S&P sideways. DAX, well, that's been sideways since we opened, but yeah, markets just stopped. Friday afternoon, They're all down the pub. You did pound odd this morning? Yeah. Yeah, so long on pound odd at the moment. Kind of want to get out of this Dow as well. Tempted to get out of these shorts. Just gonna wait for this candle to close and see if it's bullish or bearish. What's my view about other EU indices? Euro 50 and France 40. I've never traded them. The reason being is they don't appear on a lot of brokers. I don't have them. I don't get them in here. I haven't got them on my Prime account either. So you just don't get them. On many, so I've just never traded them. But as far as I know, the spreads are wider and the liquidity is lighter on them. So the DAX, the thing with the European area is Germany is the biggest economy and it has the largest stock companies in it. All of the motor industry. Yeah, you got Volkswagen, you got Porsche, you got BMW. All in the DAX, in the German stock index. So when you get news about CPI and about all the stuff that comes out of the Eurozone, Germany is the largest contributor, the highest percentage of the economic Eurozone is Germany. So the DAX is where the movement tends to happen. So therefore, everybody seems to trade the DAX. You get tighter spreads on it, you get more movement through it, more volume, more liquidity. So I've never really tried to trade the EU 50 or the France 40. I just imagine they will be lighter, a little bit like the FTSE. So you trade the FTSE and you look at the DAX and the DAX goes like that, the FTSE goes like that. Yeah, same as the NASDAQ. Yeah, look at the NASDAQ next door to the S&P 500. Yeah, they mimic each other. But look at the ADRs, 349, 1,870. This thing is like a volatile, schizophrenic ninja. This thing just goes like that. It's a volatile, schizophrenic ninja. I have no idea. Never seen one. Not even going to Google it. Don't know what you get. But you see the speed of movement on these two. This just tends to... today is a bad example because they look very similar, don't they? But this is more subdued. Same as the FTSE is more subdued than the DAX. So that's really all you'll get out of those European indexes, I think. But never tried. Brian, I'm in sweatpants. It was too cold for shorts last night. Thanks for that. There's a joke there somewhere, isn't there? Something to do with shorts. I don't know. All right. Still pushing down on the, well, still trying to push down, but not getting anywhere. Okay. Well, this isn't really going anywhere, is it? At the minute. So play today for me on this NASDAQ. I've obviously got two longs on. So what I'm going to do is monitor this. One of two things is going to play out here. We're going to go up and I'm going to get out. We're going to push down and I'm going to take a additional entry down there, which is going to be, I can't see ADR extensions on here because I haven't got the indicator on. Euro pound just hit ADR as well. Euro still rallying. No, the pound is dropping. Sorry. That's why that one's hit ADR. So if you look at the NASDAQ, this low is equivalent to sort of 160 odd ADR. Yeah, so it's going to be, if it does come back down to test this level, i.e. if this doesn't hold, this second entry doesn't work, I'm happy to take a third attempt at it down here and hope that we can get some kind of pullback to minimize the loss on the NASDAQ. That's all we can do, really. So that's the previous day's low, which is 175 ADR. So that's the plan on that one. The Dow, I'm hedged on it, and I'm happy to stay hedged on the Dow at the moment. If we start to get a push on the NASDAQ, I will get out of my Dow and do a very similar thing. We are holding down here. It looks to me as if this level is holding. Frozen up again. So what I'll probably do is, if we push up, I will get out of the shorts at break even and then try and get out of the longs at break even. I mean, it depends what happens. If it suddenly puts in a flyer, I'll just close it out with whatever I've got. But that's the plan basically on the Dow. Downside on the Dow, we're pretty much at ADR as well, look. It's very hard to pick a level. We've got a propulsion gap there, which we might get a reaction at. But if it starts to collapse, I will leave it running until I see some kind of bullish movement. But nothing's going anywhere, is it? We've stalled. Everything's stalled out. So that's my plans. I'll post in Telegram what happens. So Rajiv, haha, maybe he thought you were crying. Cycling? Ooh. Just reminded me of something. Sorry, one sec. I got spin class tonight, which I'm cancelling, and I completely forgot to do it. If I don't, I get fined. Well, I don't get fined, I get a black mark up against my name. Bear with me a sec. Cancel. Done. Sorry about that. Real life stuff. Right, so that's all I've got for you today. So just going to manage these positions on the NAS and the Dow. See how we get on with those. And I'll post in Telegram what the outcome is. Hopefully today won't be the first losing day. Would be good, wouldn't it? 10 days on the trot without a loser. But anyway, we'll see. So yeah, anything else you need, I'll be in Telegram. I'll be back on Monday morning as usual for the NASDAQ, and same time, 2:20 on Monday afternoon. Next week is a busy week as well. So we've got the GBP rates. So we kick off on Monday with a bank holiday in Japan. That's always interesting. When we get a bank holiday in Japan, we quite often get a lot of Japanese yen manipulation. US tends to take advantage. So that might be a big day on Monday. There's no other news, but it is a bank holiday. So we'll see what happens, but we may get some decent movement. Tuesdays when it all kicks off, we've got monetary policy meeting minutes for the Aussie dollar overnight. So we're going to get some Aussie dollar movement there. We go straight into the CAD inflation figures. After that, we go into the pound inflation figures on Wednesday, followed by FOMC, Fed fund rate. Yeah, so this is the biggie, the real biggie. Followed by the Swiss National Bank rate on Thursday, followed by the pound rate on Thursday, followed by all the unemployment claims on Thursday. Then we're into the Bank of Japan policy, retail sales, press conference, and all of the PMI figures on Friday. Yeah, so it doesn't get any bigger than this. This is the biggest possible week of news you could possibly imagine. So next week, ADRs are going to be all over the place. RSIs are going to be all over the place. So I think maybe this 2-week period we've experienced in September, where we've done nothing off the back of doing nothing for 4 weeks in August for summer trading months, is all going to finish next week. I think maybe the market's been waiting for this. So I was expecting to get a little bit more this week off of the euro rates than we did. So, but we haven't. So hopefully next week, hell breaks loose. And then, yeah, we'll get some movement. and we'll be back to normal RSI extensions, profit take moves, the usual stuff we're used to. But right now, it's not doing anything, is it? So next week is going to be tricky from an ADR perspective, because obviously all these ADR numbers here are massively contracted. Pound New Zealand is sitting at 141. We've seen this trading 250, 300. So everything is really contracted. So when we start getting regular ADR 150s and 175s, you'll find that these will start happening sort of every other day or every day on something that isn't the market pushing hard. It's just pushing back to normal levels, because remember, we're measuring the ADR 10 here, which is the last 10 days average range. We haven't had movement for 6 weeks. So all these are artificially contracted figures. It will take 2 weeks for the ADRs to get back to normal, November. And then we go into Christmas. So yeah, tricky. It's going to be a tricky week next week, but there will be a lot of movement. So there'll be a lot of big profit taking opportunities, but potentially we might move into some squeezes as well. So we'll see what happens. But at the minute, I'm flip-flopping a lot. So Euro odd's getting close to bank. So might bank that today, actually. Euro odd. See if we can get a little bit more of a push. Market might have an end of day rally or sell-off. So this US dollar move is not necessarily over yet. Yeah, pushed. You know, it could go anywhere, this US dollar today. Sorry, I should be looking at the pound US dollar, really. And the euro US dollar. It's probably the best gauge, isn't it? So, you know, we've had this big rally against the US. It's pulled back. We could well get ADRs off this US today. So we'll see what happens. But the indices have just flatlined totally. So might be a tricky one today. We'll see what happens. All right. Anything else you need, let me know. I will be in Telegram. Otherwise, have a good weekend, and I will see you guys Monday. Have a good one.